Alright guys, so this is another Patreon request, and this one comes from Nola Nunejo. Sorry if I mispronounced that name. And this Patreon request is basically, what if Injustice happened in the Marvel Universe? What if the Injustice storyline, what if something like Injustice happened in the Marvel Universe? But before we go into it any further, as always, if you guys like the Patreon request done, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon, you guys can start to send me requests for videos to do here on YouTube. But other than that, let's get started with this idea. So, the best way to say is that, like, how would Injustice happen in the Marvel Universe? Well, I think you would go, like, Civil War, but if it was taken too far. Like, instead of, like, okay, so obviously most people think, oh, our Superman stand-in is Thor. Well, in here, I would have that instead of Civil War happening, Iron Man, who would be director of S.H.I.E.L.D. at the time, just kind of takes more power. Like, that's the thing about Tony, is that he doesn't know, he thinks he's doing good, when really he's hurting everyone. Like, he becomes more, like, obsessive and compulsive every time, and he just kind of, like, wants to be, like, he's a total futurist. He wants to have more control over everything. He needs that control. So that's the thing with Iron Man, is that he needs that kind of level of control around people and things. So that would be it, is that it would just be start with him as director, taking over S.H.I.E.L.D., and then kind of impose, like, saying that, like, there needs to be a suit of armor around the world, and the Avengers can be more of that. I would say that he kind of gets this idea after, like, maybe something like Nitro blowing up, or maybe Doctor Doom did something that was so horrible, Iron Man is now like, yeah, we can kill now. Like, yeah, he would just execute some villain for all to see, and then he would start taking over, he would start transitioning with S.H.I.E.L.D., and then from there, just start kind of taking over, and other heroes, and also some villains would probably join. As for who would be part of this regime, I couldn't exactly say. I will say, though, that a definite member for the regime would be Namor. I have no doubt in my mind that Namor would ally with Stark, not just because he would keep Atlantis safe, but also T'Challa would not be okay with the idea of Stark becoming a dictator, and Namor would jump at the chance to go to war with an Atlantis-Wakandan war again, and this time have the backing of Stark behind him. The other thing is, too, is that it's really hard to say who among... Because I think he would approach the Illuminati first. That's how I think it would go, is that Iron Man would approach the other Illuminati members and just be like, hey, we have all this power, why don't we just seize control and it will save everybody? Like, we can do that. No one's going to stop us. We're literal gods. Some of us are actually gods. So, that would be the thing, is that... I think some of them, like, Namor would be like, Stark's right, you know, it's time, you know, Namor would be like, Stark is right, we need to have a show of force, and Atlantis will stand with Stark. Meanwhile, Black Panther will be like, fuck that, no thank you. Reed is a Reed would be, well, a hard read, because I don't know where he would lie. I think he would see the logic in, like, maybe we can do a lot of good, but the way Tony is doing it would kind of make him worried. Like, I think he would try to keep him and the rest of the Fantastic Four would be out of the regime, but I don't think they would, like, I think Stark wouldn't give them a chance. There's also the whole thing of that Xavier could be, like, Xavier is also a hard tell of where he would be regime-wise, because on one hand, Xavier could easily be like, no, this will be a danger to mutant kind. But on the other hand, I think it would be like, maybe it's time, you know, I will say Magneto would join the regime. Magneto would straight up join the regime on the grounds of, if I'm going to kill Stark at some point, and then I'm going to take over. But actually, no, I take that back. I immediately take that back, because I just had that thought of, wait a minute, Magneto would literally look at Stark and be like, I'm not letting some human dictate the rules of mutant kind, so no. But on the other hand, Xavier, there's an argument where you could have that Xavier could join the regime, because he could see, like, maybe this is maybe Stark taking control of the planet would be the only way to ensure peace between man and mutant, even if it's by force. And Magneto would be like, I'm not letting a human tell me what to do. And then Magneto would lead the X-Men that don't join the regime from there. It's a tough one. As for characters I could see not joining the regime, obviously Captain America would not be part of the regime in any way, shape, or form. He would not want anything to do with that nonsense. Hulk, I think Hulk would join the regime. I think Banner would willingly join the regime, and they would have Hulk. Thor would be a tough one. I think Thor might go with the regime because he could see, like, in his head that, like, Stark has the right idea, and maybe humans need this kind of harsh justice. But at the same time, I think when his hammer no longer sees him worthy, that's when he's gonna be like, shit. And that's when Jane takes Mjolnir back, or Beta Ray Bill, or something of that nature. Yeah, this is a tough one. This is the fun thing is that Iron Man could. This would be basically Civil War, just done on a grandiose scale. Like, that's the big thing, is that, like, this is just Civil War just done bigger. And Stark would be just going all out, just full out madness for this. I could even see him making, like, Doctor Doom makes an allegiance with him, unless it's Doom that causes this whole thing to happen. Which I would have that, maybe in this story, Doctor Doom unleashed some kind of doomsday weapon, and it literally killed, like, all of New York was just killed off, and a lot of superheroes were killed too. But then Iron Man goes to Latveria, ignoring, like, all the political, like, you know, you can't cross this line, I'm a sovereign citizen and all that, and then Iron Man just straight up murders him. Like, Iron Man just straight up murders Doom, and then proceeds to be like, we could have done more. We should have stopped Von Doom day one. And maybe you could make the argument that Reed joins because of that, like, he feels guilt, and maybe have that one or two of the members of the Fantastic Four were killed in the destruction of New York from Doom's attack. Yeah, I think there's a lot you could do with this. I do think there is a lot you can do. I will say Spider-Man would not join the regime. I think he would be like, if this was something like Civil War, it's like, nope, they already did that the first time, not doing that again. Thing wouldn't be a part of it. I would say, Wolverine, obviously not. Well, there's the X-Men, like, that's the thing, is that there's so many teams and so many characters. I will say, and this may be a hot take, but I don't think Punisher would be part of the Resistance. I think Punisher would be willingly a member of the regime. Hear me out. I think Frank would willingly join Stark because, A, he would be like, yeah, we're killing villains now, and now we're bringing the whole world to justice. Yeah, I'm in. I think he would honestly be down with the idea. After seeing Stark kill Doom, I think he would be like, yeah, now we're taking control and no villain is safe. So I think, yeah, and Frank Castle does have those kind of morals where he'd be like, yeah, I'm just gonna join because now Stark, and definitely Stark, if that's the case, Stark would definitely let him use the War Machine armor again. If this was a game, if this was an actual video game, Tony would totally let Frank Castle use the War Machine armor again to just murder people all over again. That's totally what would happen. Yeah. So this would be a lot of fun. I do think it's a lot of fun, but there's so many questions, like, where would the Asgardians be? What would the people of Krakoa be like? Where would the Fantastic Four stand, or the other members of the Avengers? There's a lot. And I think it all depends on circumstances and whatnot. I really do think it depends on, like, certain circumstances and things like that. So this would be a lot of fun. But I do see, instead of, like, Thor, like some people have said, because I've seen this thrown around a few times, like, well, Thor's like Superman. Maybe we could just have Thor. Nope. I would say, if anyone, it'd be Tony. Because Tony would... we've seen timelines where Tony has literally gone too far in trying to protect the world. So, yeah. Anyway, so you guys tell me in the comments below, what do you guys think it would be like if Injustice happened in the Marvel Universe? Just comment below, let me know. And once again, I'd like to thank Nolan Unejo for this Patreon request. And as always, if you guys would like to have a Patreon request done as well, just hit the link below. Head on over to my Patreon, where you guys start sending me videos to do here on YouTube. But other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.